something a little different. For those of you who follow me and follow the channel, welcome back. My name is Laurie, and you are watching Life with Laurie. Today's going to be something a little different. I'm going to go into this boldly and bravely, something that I've been maybe holding back on a little bit, but definitely feel the need to do. So today, my van is in warranty, getting a few things done, and so I haven't been able to go out of my van. Normally, I'm van traveling, camping, things like that, but since my van is getting fixed, I am home. So that is where I am right now. I thought this would be a great opportunity to talk a little bit about my story and about who I am, where I'm at in my life right now. I felt led to share. So there's probably going to be a lot of editing in this because I'm going to try not to ramble and get to the point, but I'm going to start right before COVID is kind of when my life started to evolve and change. I have been married for about 29 years, raised a family, life was good, things like that. But I felt, and I'm not even sure how to explain this, but I felt like there was going to be big changes ahead. And I was very amped up in a lot of different activities. My personality is if I find something that I enjoy, then I'm just like full in, like 100%. I'm competing, I'm traveling, I'm like burning myself out. Like this is just what I do. So I was kind of in that mode, busy, busy, busy. And something was telling me like, you need to settle in. You need to let go of some of this anxiety, stress, this hustle, all of this, because things are going to be coming ahead. That's the feeling I had. So I slowly started to like eliminate some of my activities. I stopped competing, like alleviating the stress that I had control over. That's what I felt. I felt like I needed to just release all the things that all the anxiety, all the difficulties that I was creating in my own life, right? So, I did simple things. I stopped worrying about what I ate every second. I pulled back on my activities just when I felt like I wanted to enjoy them. It wasn't like a stress thing. I actually let my hair grow gray because at the time my hair was very long and it was dark. I was dyeing it dark. And I just didn't feel like that was serving me, and it was stressful, like trying to cover the gray and all the things. And so I started to evolve through that time, like preparing for I'm not sure what, but I knew that something was coming. So fast forward to COVID. COVID hit. My husband at the time lost his job. Like our life was kind of turned upside down as we knew it. And it started this like role of evaluating where I was in my life. And I want to come out and say, first of all, I'm not an advocate of divorce. Like I'm just sharing my story and what happened to me and how I felt about it in hopes that maybe there's other women out there or people in general that have similar circumstances, or maybe just can relate or feel better that, you know, we all don't know what we're doing 100%. So that's part of why I'm sharing this story. So I came home one day, and backstory, marriage was very difficult. There was things in the marriage that were not healthy. And I was so busy with all my life, you know, going on all the time that I really didn't sit with that and settle with it or address it for that matter. So I literally just came home one day and said, like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I've asked, I've begged, I've pleaded, I've done all the things, and nothing is changing. And I felt like nobody was going to come rescue me. I needed to go do that for myself. So for me personally, that's what I needed to do. Those boundaries were drawn at that day, and that started a whole new chapter in my life. So 29 years of marriage, raising children, having grandchildren, like taking the backlash from family and friends, I felt like I lost everything, pretty much, just because I wanted to stick up for myself and set boundaries. I got a new job, I started getting independent, things like that, and all that felt good, except for the fact that I was running again, running, burning out, stress, anxiety, all the things. About maybe 6 months into the divorce process, I decided that I was gonna get a van. And it took a while to make that happen. So in between, I would do day trips, camping, things like that. And one day, I had went what I thought was for the day up to my local mountains. And I just thought I'm gonna walk around, enjoy that it was fall, like enjoy the day. and that was going to be it. But once I got there, I thought, you know, I'm going to see if I can spend the night. It would be nice to spend the night and get up in the morning. Again, it was such beautiful weather. I thought this would be perfect. Well, I walked through the town. All the hotels were booked. Every Airbnb was booked. Like, it was a busy weekend, apparently, for that time. So last ditch effort, I went to the like town hall they have there. It's a very small mountain town. And I guess that's the hub of everything that goes on in the town. So I just happened to walk in there to see, like, hey, if maybe this lady would know where I could stay for the night. So I walk in and she immediately says, that is so funny, because a woman just left here that just put her Airbnb notifications here and said that she is taking last minute reservations, and she just left like 10 minutes ago. She goes, the only thing is it's a glamping tent. And in my mind, I'm like, yes, that sounds perfect. So I went to this lady's property who had this beautiful glamping tent, and she met me there. And what was so interesting is we had this great conversation on her property, sitting on her deck, talking about life and all the things. And two things that she said to me that night really changed the course of my life. One of them is we talked about this YouTube channel. At the time, I was like toying with the idea of starting a YouTube channel. And without knowing me, really, she said, Laurie, I'm going to tell you right now, the more authentic you are on this channel, the more successful you are going to be. And that's something that has been sitting with me through this whole time that I've been doing these YouTube videos, is I've been showing a lot about what I am doing, but not really talking a lot about who I am and where I'm at in my life. So today is the day. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So the second thing that she said to me is we were talking about just metaphors in life, things like that. And she was talking about a flood. She goes, you know, water, floods are very metaphorical for life changes. And I was like, that's so interesting. I feel like I'm always drawn to water. Like, one of my goals is to get a cabin by some water. So stay tuned. That is my next goal. I want a cabin by a river, lake, water. That's always been something that I've been drawn to. So we were talking about that. So I had a beautiful night. I spent the night. I got up the next morning and started driving home. So as I was driving home, I get a call from my husband at the time telling me, you might not want to go home. And I'm like, why? And he said, because the house flooded and it is destroyed. I was like, what? So as the time I was talking to this lady at this glamping tent about floods, my house was flooding. But it wasn't just like a little flood. It was the whole house. For 7 hours, a pipe broke upstairs and flooded my 5-bedroom home. There was only 2 rooms, I think, in the house that were not destroyed. Everything was destroyed. Everything. Everything that was in my house, with the exception of a few things that were up off the ground. So when I came home to a disaster. The ceiling had caved in. My house as I knew it was destroyed. And that began another chapter in my life. So that was 8 months of tearing the house down to the cement and to framing. And going from Airbnbs, trying to live out of boxes for months, very unsettled. And I will never forget when I came home and had to box up the few things that I had left. I cried, and then I just looked and I had maybe 10 boxes with my belongings in them. And I just thought, this is it. This is the pivot. This is the time that has been fast forwarded to, it's time to move, Laurie. It's time to make a move in your life. And it was kind of done for me, but just with a lot of loss in a short period of time. So my divorce was final, and because of insurance purposes and because the house is still not completely finished, I have not been able to move out. So I'm kind of in a weird vortex right now, trying to get through this transition, things like that. Trying to make decisions from here on out, what is going to be best for me. I don't really know what that is. I'm still kind of navigating through all of this in the middle of it, but I do know a few things. My van has been a blessing. I have been able to go on my long trips, spend time by myself, kind of reflect, maybe get a little insight outside of the situation. It's like my little safety zone. It's like my little place of peace. And those trips that I photograph and video are actually times when I'm just at my happiest. It's just being outside, traveling. It's what makes my heart sing, 100%. So I did write, in between all of that, I wrote 4 goals for myself, maybe like a year and a half ago. One of them was to create this YouTube channel and be successful. So hopefully by sharing some more of my personal life, you'll get to know me, and we can figure out this journey together, because I cannot be the only one going through this similar stuff. I feel like there's people out there, and we can do this together, which is what I want. 2, I feel like the second thing on my list was a cabin by the river. I'm working on that. Successful YouTube channel, cabin by the river, my van, and then when I turned 60, which was last year, I wanted to take a birthday trip, and I did that. So when I first got my van, I took my first trip. It was my 60th birthday. It was through Colorado. I took the Durango train. You can look down on those video playlists. It was so much fun and so liberating, and that trip was so happy. I felt so free and so ready for a new future, things like that, and it was great. So my second trip that I took this last summer was phenomenal, but it definitely had a different vibe. This last trip was more retrospective. I was like, okay, here I am. Now what am I going to do? Now where do I go? I'm not a big person who wants to go out and date and things like that. That's just not where I'm at in my life. I feel like I want to focus on my life and what is going to be good for me. I definitely don't want to jump out of the frying pan into the fire, 100%. I love my family, and really struggling to navigate through that situation and feel good about all the decisions I make. So I'm just kind of stuck in this little vortex wheel right now, trying to figure it out. My next step is going to be to travel in the spring and really look hard for some real estate. So I want to investigate all the areas that I had visited last summer and see if I can't find my cabin by the river. I feel like that's where I'm drawn to, and that's where my YouTube channel will also develop, is just that experience, being able to have that cabin by the river, and maybe grow a garden and just be at peace. I feel like that's what I'm looking for, like we all are probably. Just looking for that place of peace where I'm not competing, I'm not running, I'm not trying to be the best of all things. My personality was definitely driving me into the ground. At one point, I thought I was dying of a heart attack. All last year, I was having these heart symptoms that I was 100% for sure was me having heart failure. And I just recently finally went to the doctors. I got insurance again, went to the doctors. My heart's fine. They're literally congratulating me. They're like, the fact that you don't take any medication and you're this healthy, good job. So it was part of me was dang, I was all ready to kind of go out in a blaze of glory. I was just going to be let's get this van, go on a trip, and then I was just going to die. I know that sounds silly, but in my mind, that was kind of what was happening. So now I'm okay, so I got some years left. What am I going to do now? I'm very much at a pivot point. So that's kind of where I'm at. I, again, want to share this with you because I want you guys to get to know me as a real person, and everything that comes from here, because I'm still going to do a lot of van travel. I'm going to do my day trips. I'm going to experiment with some outdoor cooking. I've got all kinds of fun things that I want to do, and I'm going to share that all with you, but I'm also going to share how I'm feeling and what I'm going through. If there is any ladies out there that are watching, or even men, I feel like this is very universal. This is not just one or the other. If you're, I'm 60, I turned 61 this year. I feel like, this is the next chapter of my life, my home run, race to the checkered kind of thing. And I want to make sure it matters. And so I'm trying to file in all the things that matter to me, my family, my grandkids, my kids, my friends, things like that. Also, being true to myself and finding out what it is that I want to do, and finding balance with all of that. So if you are down for the journey, I'm going to say, let's go, because I'm not sure. This is going to be a mixed bag here, but I think it's going to be inspiring, hopefully, and the more real I get and the more vulnerable I get, I feel like the more relatable I'm going to be. So that's my hope. So today I'm on my way to work actually in a little bit, and I'm gonna just kind of share with you as this progresses my life, and we can do this together, and hopefully, you know, even my stumbling along the way will be relatable, but I'm just going to share mine in hopes that there's somebody out there that can relate. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. So I'm waiting for my van to get done. I'm not like super happy with what they're doing with my van. I'm not going to name many names, but they're just not doing the best warranty work. So I'm going to get my van back, and I'm going to work on it myself. There's upgrades that I want to do. I'm going to redo some of the inside paneling. I'm going to put a ladder, like a fixed ladder. The components of the van, as far as the mechanics of it, work great. So it's just like a little bit of cosmetic stuff and things that I needed, like I need to get up and maintain my solar panels and stuff like that, and I need a fixed ladder, like just stuff like that. Nothing too crazy. But the van's running great. And I'm excited for my trip in the spring, but I will be doing some winter trips, probably shorter time, but in the spring, summer, I'm gonna head back to Wyoming, but I'm gonna go to a different route and just investigate Arizona a little more. I'm thinking Arizona or Wyoming is probably, I love Colorado, so that's on the list too, but I'm thinking retirement, you know, or semi-retirement place. So that's kind of my mindset, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see what life presents itself, because I do believe, if I learned anything from traveling, I learned the more time you give yourself, the more opportunities you give yourself, right? When you pack your life in so, you know, busy and stressful and just one thing, it really doesn't leave space for magic. And I think I've said that before. So I'm trying to incorporate what I learned on my trips to my everyday living so that I can show up. Like at the end of the day, I feel like this. Another funny thing. I feel like if there is such thing as like past lives, I think I'm on my last run, because I feel like my ancestors are like, you got to get this. This is it. This is the last run via why I'm 61 and going through a big life change. Like, really? Am I worth learning all this now? Absolutely yes. Somebody is telling me yes, 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 yes. Whether it's to share, whether it's for my children to see, whether it's just so that when it's all said and done, I can say that I raced to the finish. Like I did all the things that I needed to do or felt like I should do. And I just don't want to waste any time. I don't want to make decisions based on fear. I don't want to make decisions based on what makes everybody else happy necessarily. I want to find out what it is that my Creator put in me that I can develop and manifest in this life, because that's where I feel like you're winning. Everybody wins in that situation, right? So that's what I want to do. I want my journal, when my kids read my journal after I go on, you know, to the other side, I want them to read it, and I want it to have things written in there full of joy and excitement, and like, oh my gosh, I went and did this, and this is what happened with me, and like, I want them to read it with joy, not sadness. So those are the things that I'm working through. Again, thanks for listening and watching. I will probably do a lot of edits on this. I'm sure it seems a little rambly, but I know that the more vulnerable, the more authentic I can be, the bigger and broader the channel is going to be, and the more I'm going to be able to help other people. And that's ultimately what I want to do with this. It's creative and fun for me as well, don't get me wrong, but I truly want this channel to be a outlet, and the only way that's going to happen is if I let my guards down and let you all in and get to know me. So there's lots more. I wear many hats. I've done a lot of things in my life, but I just wanted to kind of jump on and share this with you today. So I appreciate you guys so much, each and every one of you. Like when I look and see how many people are viewing my videos, it blows my mind. I know it's going to grow. I believe in it. I believe in us, and I feel like we are going to master this thing called life. Yeah? All right, you guys. So I will see you next time. Peace.